Before we start, the name is at the top right of the screen. Imperial year 712, Rosient Empire. The holy sword which had been asleep for 600 years had awakened. People began to shout from astonishment that the holy sword had been awakened. The junior priest orders to call the high priest. They think that it seems God is responding. Right then a voice states that it shall choose this lady as its master, causing everyone to be confused. It states that it is an honor for her to be chosen by him. Regard Bintieri Skolasyomshas Roxanique. The light emits from the sword and absorbs in her body, asking if she is aware that she does not have the right to refuse him. Right. He finds it cozy, warm, and snug. Knowing this is it. That was the first meeting between Adelia Esther, the first female knight in the continent's history, and the sole survivor of a ruined duchy, and the holy sword Regard. Although 7 years had passed since she retired, but people still gossip about her achievements. A man states that she even restored the fallen house of Esther. The other person asks if that is the case. The Gaia great battle that lasted for centuries ended in victory. She was a blessing from the heavens, a blessing that will never come again. The girl mentions that hearing it from Teacher Felsen makes her a little embarrassed. The other man states that she sounds like she's listening to someone else. She tells them to talk about the present. She asks the teacher that he said there were less than 6 months left. The other man rises from his chair because of the shock, questioning if that's true. The teacher tells her that he has repeatedly told her to take care of her health and asks her what is the point of wealth and power if her health fails. He told her to refrain from using aura or her body won't hold out. Barak, filled with shock, asks her does not it bothers her to end like this? He tells her that if she just says the word, he will search across the sea to find a way. She calls out to them and tells them that a hero must remain heroic until the end. She touches the sword and states that Regard did well. She blinks for a second and finds herself in a different place. She wonders where is she? She feels that her legs are light, which causes her to think if she is dead. She knows not even a day has passed, and she is already meeting the guardian deity. A man stands under a tree afar. He grabs her attention, causing her to wonder is it. Her eyes are filled with astonishment as she continues to gaze at him. Before she blinks and finds herself laying on a bed, as she sits, she notices a bird on the balcony. She suddenly becomes shocked while sitting in front of the mirror, questioning what is this as she touches her face. Someone then calls out to her. She calls the person as Syrah. She is a maid as she informs Adelia that she heard a loud noise and came to see if she's okay. Adelia grabs onto Syrah, questioning what year is it in the imperial calendar. Syrah responds that it's 699 and questions why does she ask. Adelia asks about her age. Syrah responds that she is 9 years old. Adelia with a concerned look then questions if her father and brother are alive. Syrah responds that the Duke's letter from the battlefield arrived yesterday, so there should be no problem, and that young Master Derek is in the Royal Knights. She asks Adelia if she had a nightmare, telling her that she needs to get ready for the academy entrance ceremony. Adelia remembers that this is the luxurious room in the mansion where she lived as a child, and Syrah is the maid whose face she could not remember after the fall of their family. She knows that she is the 9-year-old naive and young Adelia. She thinks that it is either a dream and she has finally gone mad, or she has gone back to the past. She then becomes excited and calls out to Syrah. She goes back to her bed and tells her that she is not going to the academy so she can just unpack her things. She ponders that she does not want to go through the hardship of becoming a knight again. Before she turns around and tells Syrah that unpacking is a hassle, so she can just burn everything. Syrah is dumbfounded as she asks Adelia that just yesterday she was so excited to become a knight like young Master Derek. Adelia questions if she was. She tells her that today is a new day, and she does not want to be a knight anymore. She makes it clear that from now on, she will really, truly just have fun. The house of Esther is still standing, and her father and brother are alive to lead it. She is so happy that she does not have to carry the heavy burden alone as she did in her previous life. She is aware that if she does not become a knight, she will not have to go back to the dreadful battlefield. Nor will she have to be the Emperor's Exidum's lapdog pretending to be a hero. She thinks that this is an extension of the wrist she has finally earned, and it is a chance to compensate for a life that was tired and pitiful and spent in war and work. She knows that she's retired, and so for now, she'll sleep and think about it when she wakes up. She is having a nightmare of her past. She runs out as she's informed that the Duke and the young Duke have fallen in battle against the Rashar coalition. The Freyr royal knights have achieved a great victory against a coalition. People celebrate as a man mentions that he heard the head and young head of the House of Esther are both dead. The other one also states that he bet that Freyr would become a hero again, and he was right. She stood there and stared at them from her window. As they say, that poor young Esther is left all alone. She begins to have fever. The doctor appears and states that she has taken the antipyretic so her fever will go down soon. Sura grabs the doctor from the collar yelling how soon. She states that Adelia is in so much pain and the doctor should do something. He asks her to please come down as she becomes more angry and asks him how can she calm down. Right then, the young master appears and states that there was no mention of Adelia being sick in the letters. Sura tells him that Adelia has been talking strangely since the morning and developed a fever a little while ago. He asks her if she said that she would not go to the academy and Sura responds yes she did. He goes to her and grabs her hand, stating that her brother is here so she can open her eyes. He tells her that if her fever goes down he will buy her lots of pudding from Third Cent and they will stop by Lemurey for some plum ice cream. Suddenly, he becomes surprised. Light begins to emit from her body as she wonders if this is Aura. His Grace Theos Esther, the war hero of the Rosient Empire, is questioned what does he intend to do. He is told that, as he knows, many noble families and imperial citizens are watching the House of Esther closely. There was a lot of talk when she decided to take the entrance exam to become a knight as a woman. So if she turns back now, there will be those who will before he is interrupted by Theos. He calls out to Warren, stating that he will finish the war within a week and return. Warren is dumbfounded as he asks what. Theos asks why drag it out for 6 months. Warren tells His Grace that it is not as easy as it sounds. He responds that there is no change in plans and embarks on his journey. Her brother asks her if she can hear him. She opens her eyes as he checks if her fever has gone down. She calls out to him as she tells her yes, it is her brother. She becomes shocked and asks him how did he get here so quickly. She suddenly gets a throbbing pain in her head, causing her to scream. Her brother, with a worrisome look, questions if she is okay or if she's still in pain. She looks at him for a while as she ponders that she is really alive. She remembers him telling her that he will be back soon, and even though this war it won't be that dangerous. So she should properly eat her meals and not skip them. She remembers that he said he would come back quickly. She hugs him tightly. She has tears in her eyes as she ponders that this time she will save her father and brother. She won't let their family go through such misfortune again. She tells him that she is really happy because she is back now. It is enough for her that he has come back like this. As it is time to eat, she wonders that he was always a kind brother. But was he this affectionate? She knows that it is still awkward as she takes a bite from his hand. He also thinks that she became more affectionate after being sick and finds it cute. He then tells her that father sent a letter saying that he will arrive earlier than expected. She thinks that it is a long way to the southernmost region of Chathros, but was not it supposed to be a long war? She asks him, did not he say it would take a while? Her brother responds that he must have been worried since she said that she would not go to the academy and he is probably running here right now, unable to sleep because he is worried about her. She does not believe that because she is aware that he even prioritizes war over her birthday. She is aware that she is not so young anymore to live off such comforting lies. As they're going back to her room, he asks her how about a sparring session as usual. But she tells him that she is too full to move. He tells her that she used to love sparring more in such situations, when now she's saying that she's feeling lazy because she is full. She tells him that she does not want to as she is 9 years old, so it is allowed. He questions who said that. He then states that he will be off to the Knights for a while. She asks him to come back soon. He responds that he has got it. She stands on the balcony and finds it very peaceful. She thinks that this peace will only last until she turns 12. Within 2 years, the current emperor will die, and according to his will, his Duke Exidum, not the Crown Prince Karsus, will ascend to the throne. Then, due to ensuing Roshar War, the House of Esther will fall as she lose both father and brother. Even if she wants to go to war instead, it would be madness without an aura and the Holy Sword. She knows that it would be great if her father could retire early. She sighs as this causes Sira to get stressed. She suddenly hears a voice and questions, "Who is it?" Looking at the carriage down there, she asks that if her father has already arrived. It's the carriage of House of Rosehill. She thinks if it's Carolina. Inside, Carolina takes a sip of her tea. She mentions that it smells nice. Carolina Rosehill. She is Derek's fiancée and the eldest daughter of the Marquis of Rosehill. Adelia tells her that she thought she liked flower tea and tells her that these cookies are from her favorite shop, Larton. She did not bring pudding since she thought that Carolina would not like it. She asks Carolina if she likes pudding. Carolina apologizes to her for coming unannounced. She mentions that if she knew Derek had left, she would have left at the gate. Adelia tells her that she did not tell her on purpose. Carolina becomes surprised, questioning does not Adelia hate her. Adelia flinches and laughs, questioning her. Carolina had told Derek that marrying into the Marquis of Rosehill is far more advantageous than some other mediocre family. She told him that she will marry him and become the touch base in the House of Esther, will get exclusive rights to the Northern Mines. She wanted to covet the position of Duchess without loving her brother. Adelia knows that she vividly remembers all the ways she tormented her because of that. She only learned Carolina's true feelings after Derek died. She told Adelia that she will look into it, so don't give up, and she should wait a little longer as these people would not die so pointlessly. She apologized to Adelia and told her if only she had a bit more power, she could do something. Rose Hill was exiled from the Empire, branded as accomplices to the House of Esther, accused of treason. Adelia is aware that the person who should apologize is her. Carolina asks her why is she looking at her like that. Adelia responds it is because she is pretty. Carolina becomes shocked and asks her why is she doing this all of a sudden, asking if she has found a new way to get rid of her. Adelia suddenly grabs Carolina's hands and tells her not really and that she likes Carolina's brown hair. She likes her fair skin that suits her red dress and her clear sky blue eyes. She tells Carolina that she must have been jealous because she always played with Derek, knowing she was so immature, stating that no matter how much she liked Carolina, she should not have done that. She apologizes to Carolina and asks if she will accept her apology. Carolina sweats because of the shock, being hesitant to respond as she tells Adelia that she'll be watching her. Back in her room, Adelia thinks that it was fun. She thinks that Carolina may not remember, but at least she should not become a hindrance to her and her brother. Knowing that the fate of the House of Rose Hill also depends on the survival of her father and brother. She has neither power nor connections right now, and she does not know where to start. She asks Sira who is the person that she's closest to right now. Sira becomes nervous as there's no one that comes to her mind. Adelia is aware that she guesses no one, thinking that of course, no noble ladies would have played with a girl wielding a sword. She tells her that she's thinking of making friends since she is not going to the academy. Sira becomes happy, stating that would be wonderful. Adelia stands up and states that if she has drawn her sword, she should cut something with it. She wants to attend a tea party and thinks that there must be at least one invitation for her, right? Sira again becomes nervous knowing there isn't any. Adelia becomes aware of it, seeing her reaction. It is nighttime as her brother comes back and calls out to her. She questions if he has finished his work with the knights. He tells her mostly he has, but more important is that father has arrived. With a sad expression on her face, she questions if that is really the case. She thinks if he has already arrived. They go to meet him as he asks them to sit down. She stares at him as her brother asks her that they should go and sit on the sofa. He calls her again as she ponders that he looks exactly like he did the last time he went to war. She ponders that she has good longing for so long that she cannot greet him heedlessly. She has so many questions to ask. Her eyes become teary as she wonders why there's such a strong person like him guys so pointlessly, and why did he bear the disgrace of treason and leave her alone? What happened on that battlefield that day? She has many questions that she wants to ask. But she is the only one in this world who remembers that horrible life. There is no one here that you can ask and no one to answer her. She tells him that she's really glad he came back safely. He asks her if she wants to cancel her admission to the academy. She tells him yes, that is the case. He states that getting into Vintiola Academy is a huge honor. She responds that she is aware of that. Royal Knight Academy Vintiola, despite its long history, a 9-year-old girl being the top entrant was a first, and the Emperor himself granted the admission after much consideration. He tells her that although the admission was personally conveyed, to revoke it they would need to get permission directly from His Majesty. She tells him that she is prepared for that and states that he must have ended the war quickly to come back, but her decision not to go to the academy has not changed. He calls out to her and states that the reason he returned quickly is but does not finish his sentence. He asks her if she's feeling better now. She tells him yes, she is perfectly fine now. He rises up and states that he has prepared the carriage and they should go to the palace without delay. She asks him what does he mean, and she wonders if they are supposed to go just like that. She questions if she has his permission. He states that the morning air is cold, so she should go and dress warmly and then come down. While in the carriage, he questions that this is her first time meeting the Emperor, right? She knows that in her previous life, she only heard about his passing while she was at the academy. Her brother tells her that they will arrive in the morning so she can get some sleep. She looks at her father and ponders that a stern father and a daughter who is not good at expressing affection. She missed him so much, but these feelings are probably just hers alone. So she thinks this is all right. The morning approaches as her father steps outside, and she asks him if he finished talking with His Majesty. He responds that yes, but his part was just to confirm that he approved, and now she has to go in alone and get the Emperor's permission. She tells him yes, she can do it, and begins to step towards inside. His Duke tells his son that it has been decided that he won't be going on any expeditions for a while, that he will be at the Duke's estate, so he should return to the Knight Order. The young master questions what, asking if is not the next war just around the corner, and even questioning if His Majesty allowed that. His Duke states that His Majesty did not seem too happy. The young master with an anxious look asks if his father did not threaten His Majesty. Did he? His Duke does not respond, to which the young master surprisingly questions again if he threatened him, stating that even if he is the Emperor's closest friend, before his Duke states that he did not. The young master asks him if he really did not, but his Duke does not respond. Meanwhile, Adelia stands in front of His Majesty as he states, so this is the little star of House Esther he has heard so much about. She greets him and bows. He asks her to rise as she rises. She stares at him and ponders. This man is Emperor Kendrick. She thinks that he really resembles the Crown Prince. It reminds her of when he was a knight. He asks what is she thinking so deeply about. She responds that she was so nervous meeting His Majesty for the first time. He tells her there is no need to be so nervous as he did not call her here to discuss anything grand. He pulls out her name and asks her if her decision to cancel her admission is still firm. She tells him yes. He questions if she is willing to give up the honor of being the youngest top entrant and the first female knight in the Empire. She tells him yes. He also asked her even if it means that she will have access to a private training ground, a personal royal chef if she wants, and will scholarships, weekly outings with all permission slips, no exams and no skipping unwanted classes. With a determined look on her face, she tells him yes. He tells her that this will be quite a blow to Vientiola's academy reputation. His works and tells her there is one condition for canceling her admission. He does not usually make this kind of offer to just anyone. He asks her how about she becomes the Crown Prince's swordsmanship teacher. She is dumbfounded. She cannot believe what she just heard. After a while, she steps out. His Majesty is asked why did he make such a suggestion. He responds that he just wanted to teach her a bit since she was acting like a knight at such a young age. He did not expect her to take it so earnestly, and he wishes Karsek would be half as earnest. Her father calls out to her and asks her what happened and if she was scared. She tells him that she was not scared. She told His Majesty that if her father promises to retire within 2 years, she will follow His Majesty's wishes. His Majesty laughed and told her that Theos will be pleased to hear this. He states that he would like to grant her request, but he has a prior commitment to Theos, so it's difficult. She then questions how about they come to an agreement like this. Back in the present, her brother is shocked and asks her if she's training with the Crown Prince in swordsmanship. Her father also asks her if she accepted that. She tells them yes she did, and she also told him His Majesty something. She didn't tell her father that there is something she wants to ask him about what His Majesty said. She asks him what is the promise he made with His Majesty. He asks Adelia if he told her about that. She tells him, but there is no need to hide it. He states that there is a promise made with his retirement as collateral. It is to make the Crown Prince a worthy successor to the throne. She thinks about the Crown Prince. She wonders, so all she has to do is stop Exidum and make Karsus the emperor. In her previous life, after graduating from the academy, she caught the attention of Prince Karsus and served as his bodyguard. But after Exidum ascended to the throne, her position collapsed. And as the wielder of the Holy Sword, she had to leave the prince's side to protect Exidum. Yet the prince still treated her like a close friend. The emperor's proposal seems to be helping her dad and standing by the prince's side. But not knowing the reason for the emperor's death or Exidum's schemes, she wonders if she can really play the role of kingmaker. Besides, she only knows how to hold and swing a sword. She has never dealt with such complicated matters before. Her father tells her to dwell too much on this, and since there's another schedule before someone calls out to him. She turns around to find the prince. Everyone bows and greets the Crown Prince. Adelia ponders that he did not call for her, and the prince is around 12 years old now. She looks at his expression and becomes aware that it is not an expression that one can expect from a 12-year-old. She's aware that he mentioned in the past that Exidum used to torment him relentlessly when he was young, but she thought it was a joke. She becomes worried for him as she thinks if he endured all of this alone. The High Priest prays to Guardian Kronos to watch over Rosiant today and bless the people and the royal family. Varian calls out to the priest as he turns around, stating that the Duke is visiting today and asks to watch his mouth. He responds in astonishment that the Holy Sword moved. The Crown Prince tells his Duke that he did not expect him back so soon, and to see a new face beside him. Adelia bows and greets the Crown Prince. She ponders that it has been a long time. She wishes for him to just endure a little longer until he dethrones Exidum and ascends to the throne. Just a little longer. He asks his Duke if he's coming from seeing His Majesty. He then looks at the young master and tells him that he heard he left the Knight Order because of his sibling. The young master apologizes and states that his sibling is much better now. The Crown Prince tells him then he should return. He responds that he still needs to stay a bit longer before Adelia pinches him and states that she will tell him to return to duty immediately, even tomorrow, and states that the deputy commander of the Royal Knight Order should not be away for too long. Her brother is shocked to know that he has to return tomorrow. She looks at him and tells him why, stating that she is fully recovered. With tearful eyes, he tells the Crown Prince that he has already told the commander that he will return in a week. The Crown Prince then asks him to do as he sees fit, as he knows he is not one to slack off. He then states that he's on his way to see His Majesty, so he will take his leave. Adelia asks him to take care. He glances at her before he steps away. He then asks Lud, his attendant to find out more about the little star of the house Esther, Adelia. In the garage, Adelia thinks about her next schedule. It was the Holy Temple. She finds the building really beautiful. They also keep the Holy Sword and sacred relics here, and their family makes regular donations so they get a special tour. She ponders that the Holy Sword is the problem. She thinks that it should be fine since Rigard won't wake up for a while. She wonders what could possibly go wrong. As they step in, they are informed that this is the room where the Holy Sword is kept. The Holy Sword begins to emit aura. Ardelia realizes that something has happened as the Holy Sword has awakened, and it is floating in the air. She is shocked as she wonders why did it wake up so early and why does it recognize her. Thinking how is this any different from her previous life? She realizes that she needs to run as she begins to run away. With the Holy Sword begins to call out to her questioning where is she going and asks her to not leave it, stating that she is smaller, but it is definitely her sister, and its sister should be able to hear its voice. She wishes for it to not acknowledge her and just stay quiet. Rigard states it is definitely her sister. He tells her that he is coming towards her, asks her to catch him as he jumps towards her. She calls him an idiot. Her father notices it and saves her by attacking the sword. The Holy Sword falls away. His duke states that it seems that the temple truly wants to be at odds with House Esther. The priest asks how can he say such a thing, mentioning that they had no idea this would happen. His duke states that the sword kept in the temple attacked the children of House as if this is not an assassination attempt, then what is it? The priest begins to cry in shock, stating that's impossible, mentioning that is the Holy Sword. His duke questions is not the Holy Sword still a sword. He states that he will hold the temple accountable for what happened today. They then decides to go and leave. The priest becomes unconscious because of the shock. The high priest needs to finish his pilgrimage soon so he can resolve this. Realizing that this is a disaster, the priest stands up and tells them that they should now clean up the sanctuary. They notice that the Holy Sword is gone, yelling to find the Holy Sword. It is the night time as her brother asks her that she was really scared today. Was not she? He questions if she is hurt anywhere and if he should call a doctor. She tells him that she is not hurt and asks about Dad. He responds that he rushed to his study, saying that he has a lot of work to catch up on. He asks her to rest as he leaves. She clenches her fist and notices Rigard on her hand. She yells at him and calls out his name as he tells her. As expected, she has not forgotten him. He blushes as he states that as soon as he came to his senses, he immediately felt that time had turned back. He asks her if she knows how boring it was, being trapped in that white prison all alone. He thought he had to escape from there with her no matter what. That is what he decided. He is the competent Holy Sword Rigard Bentieri Skolasiamshas Roxanique. She asks him how much does he remember. He tells her that he remembers that he chose her, and they achieved great feats together on the battlefield. He couldn't forget the moment during the victory parade when people got gathered just to see them and questions if she remembers those grateful and admiring looks. Even little kids ran out to give them flowers. And then she died. He tells her yes. She tells him that she thought it would be a battle she'd fight alone. She tells him that he really remembers everything. He asks her that she missed him, did not she, and questions that she's not going to abandon him, right? She thinks for a while before she tells Rigard that they should do well as partners in this life too. But she says to him that he should absolutely not do anything to attract attention. Don't even show his aura either. He flinches and questions what, stating that heroes are always in the spotlight. She tells him no, as in this life she doesn't want to be a hero or Exidum's dog. Rigard gets really angry as he questions if she's talking about him, the one who kept tormenting her. She tells him yes, and that is why she has decided to live as quietly as possible and asks that he will help her write. He responds, of course he understands, and he will be as quiet as a dead sword for her. But he tells her that Exidum will recognize her aura as soon as she sees her. She becomes shocked and asks if her body right now has aura. The young master goes to his duke's study room. He asks about Adelia as he responds that he put her to sleep. things that at that time it seemed like she got embarrassed and instinctively brought out her aura. He thinks that it would be annoying if any of the priests noticed, and he has no choice for now but to hope that he has properly attracted their attention. He states that she must have been very surprised and tells her son that as soon as she wakes up, he should make sure to take care of her meal. He responds, "Yes, father." He states that they will then talk about the rest when Adelia wakes up. The young master mentions that he is going to go out for a while. The Duke asks him where does he want to go at this time. He responds that there is a pudding shop that Adelia likes on 3rd St. in Demert. It is a very popular store, so he's planning to go there when it opens and stock up. His Duke tells him that it is not good for the heir of a dukedom to go there in person. He asks him to tell his service to do this, and he will stay by Adelia's side. He mentions that he is right and asks him to rest. As the young master leaves, his Duke calls out to his attendant and asks him to prepare his carriage as he rises up. Adelia notices her aura as she thinks that these amazing creatures are moving around inside her body and wonders why did not she know about them before. She is aware that there is no way her father and brother, who are aura masters, did not feel it. She wonders, could it be that her brother put her to sleep with his aura at that time? And if the pain she felt upon returning to the past was due to the rapid increase in auras, then it all makes sense to her now. She got caught. She realizes that they found out everything. She wonders if she has to live again as a terminally ill person. She mentions now that things have become like this. Living as an ordinary noble daughter is no longer an option. She is aware that she needs to learn to control the aura. She decides that she will not let it get out of her body without her permission, though she does not know exactly what to do. She tells Rigart that he alone was making her head explode, but now even the aura is causing trouble. He tells her that he cannot throw his aura and he cannot lock it away. Realizing this is also true, she thinks of an idea as she tells him that is right. She becomes really happy as he asks her if he has done something wrong again. She holds him tightly and decides to gather it and imprison the unstable aura. Back to the aura cube, the method of making a cube itself is simple. All she has to do is collect and condense the aura in his heart and endure the heat. She takes a peek outside as he asks her why could not she make a cube in her past life. She tells him that originally it was designed for those who cannot control their aura even after reaching adulthood. This is a method of collecting aura by creating a space like a safe with a ban on the heart. She questioned that if finally she too, but her teacher told her that not only has he not seen any successful cases, her body and heart cannot endure the process right now. It will be similar to unaliving herself. Back in the present, Rigart tells her that means attempting it is also dangerous. She holds her breath and goes inside the water, stating that she is aware of that, and if she cannot control the aura, then she will eventually die. She will slowly wither while she helplessly watches everyone die. She suddenly ponders that cannot be possible and begins to realize that it hurts. Tears drops from her eyes as she asks herself to calm down and think about her dad and think about her brother. She still remembers the pain of losing the people she loved, and she has not even been able to enjoy a proper retirement life yet. So this time she will definitely take control of the aura. The aura begins to emit so rapidly that it goes out of the window too. The aura is gone as Rigart calls out to her. There is no response as he keeps on trembling. He questions what if she die like this. He does not want to be dragged back to that white prison. He asks her to not die, telling her that she cannot die like this. She suddenly appears, trying to breathe. He calls her sister. She steps outside and smokes, questioning. What did he just say? He states that he thought his sister was going to die. She questions if he was planning on leaving as soon as she died. He responds no, he did not mean it that way, and wonders why at this timing. He asked her what happened after that, and she questions. Does he not get it by looking at her still alive? She almost died. Two women notice the Duke of Esther and questions if that is really him. They are aware that it is said he sometimes appears on deserts, and it is their first time seeing him in real life, and ponders so there was a reason why Lady Rose Hill hanged herself. He ponders that his father said that yesterday, but Adelia wants to eat it, so he has to buy it himself. If he had known that this would happen, he would have told his father and sent him a courtship letter. It turns out that the shop is not open. He realizes that there was no point in coming here. The store was going to be closed. A girl calls out to him and asks Say what is wrong. He tells her that his sister really likes the pudding from here and he wanted to give her a special gift, but the shop is closed. The girl tells him that it is her dad's pudding. He asks her if the owner of this store is her father. She tells him yes, as he asks her if he can know when the store will open. She tells him that they won't be opening the store anymore. He is shocked as she continues that they are going to close the store for good, and she thinks that her father has already put it up for sale. Meanwhile, Adelia calls out to Lily. Lily asks her if she just came down to call her. Adelia tells her it was so stuffy and questions where is her father and brother. She is told that they both went out. She wonders that for some reason, even though such an oral explosion had occurred, it was rather quiet, so they came back in such a hurry and went back to the Imperial Palace after only a short while. Lee tells her that she knows they both are very busy. She responds that she understands. She wonders why she's feeling sad right now, even when she was sick, even every year on her birthday and when she passed that difficult test. Even though her father had never been by her side even once. Her father didn't write calls out to her. She realizes that he came quickly. He gets down on his knees and touches her head. He states that he should have told her to take it easy. He mentions that she does not have a fever anymore. He asks about Derek. She cannot believe that her father touched her forehead and wonders if he is really worried about her. Her father tells the way to tell the doctor that Adelia is away, and that she should come and give her a checkup. Adelia tells him that she is really okay. She notices a man behind her father and thinks that he looks really familiar. Her father tells him that he has recently been hired by the Duke's family. The person takes off his hat. As Adelia remembers, she realizes he is from Delon's Happy Fondant Desert. He gives her the custard pudding and tells her this is the pudding that she has always liked, and he's also proud of his cheese pudding with raspberry syrup, but this is his best one. She takes a bite and tells him a distillation as she remembers that the store also closed down in the past due to the aftermath of the war. She is aware that she is trying this after a really long time. She questions how does he remember all the flavors that she liked. He asks her how could she possibly forget. She's the one who praised his puddings every time she came. He also heard that Master Direct came to visit the store and tells him that he made him go there in vain. Derek responds that he is grateful that he has decided to become a member of the Duke's family. He mentions that His Excellency is a hero of the Empire and his ideal, so how could he have refused? Adelia ponders that she remembers that they both did not like sweets yet, so now they eat them so well. She thinks that is expected. Delon is the best pudding chef. Derek thinks from just the information he gave his father. He even thought of bringing in a pudding chef. He said that people who want to do great things should look at the forest and not the trees in front of them. And he knows, as expected, the scale of thinking is different. He finds his father really amazing. His father wonders why is Derek looking at him like that, thinking if he was a bit harsh to steal the chef using an expedient method. A week later, the Duke of Esther bought a pudding shop for his daughter. This rumor is going around like this during past few days. Adelia asks the maid, "Is not she just saying that to make her feel good?" The maid responds, "No, that is not true." She ponders that if one thinks about it, it is hard to believe that you, Esther, went to the pudding shop himself, and then he really brought Delon specifically for her. She suddenly mentions that she wants to go and eat pudding. She notices the maid conversing in the conversation as one states that she heard he probably won't be going on for quite some time, as everyone is saying that it is the first time they have seen the Duke stay in the mansion for this long. Adelia ponders. Come to think of it, it has already been a full week since he came back, and she thought he would go back to the field as soon as the cancellation of admission was resolved. She wonders if it is because of her aura. The maid also states he told them to prepare again for the banquet that had been cancelled. They know that they never dreamed of a banquet being held after the Duchess passed away. The wait questions start why he brought him for the party, thinking it is difficult for Chef Carbon to handle all the food at the banquet alone. The maid states it is because the young lady said she liked the pastry herself, and in this way they hope that she will eat a lot of her favorite pudding and finally gain some weight. She steps away in her bed. She wonders what else did she expect you after knowing that having hope would be cruel. Right then she is informed that the Duke is looking for her. She is aware he did not pay any attention to her for a week, and if he's only going to tell her about her aura now. That's what she had thought, but he rather questions her. Where is the holy sword? Causing her to be shocked as she asks him what. Duke is informed that Adelia has arrived. Duke tells her to take a seat. He asks her how was the private audience with the Emperor. She tells him that he seemed like someone who enjoys jokes. She ponders he looks so healthy that she cannot understand why he passed away just a year later. He tells her that if she does not want to, she does not have to attend the sword training with the Crown Prince, and if she dislikes it, he will go to the Emperor himself and cancel it. She gets very nervous and tells him that she accepted, and because she wanted to. She is aware that it is an opportunity to enter and exit the palace legitimately. He questions if she really wants to. She tells him yes, and he does not need to cancel anything. She is relieved before he asks her how does she plan to hide it from the perceptive Crown Prince. She is confused as she asks him hide what. He tells her that he is talking about the Holy Sword and aura and the Holy Mark, causing her to be shocked. He states that a few days ago when she returned from the temple, there was an aura clinging to her. She had no idea until he told her. He did not call her here to scold her. He tells her that he needs to confirm if it is something dangerous. She tells him that it is not something dangerous, and she is indeed the owner of the Holy Sword. She tells him that the Holy Sword cannot harm its master. Both of them are surprised. Derek tells her the dust word from the temple tried to harm her. So how could that be? She tells him it was not an attack, it was just approaching her. She tells them if they do not believe her, they can take it and check. She takes off her pendant as her father asks her if this pendant is the Holy Sword. She tells him that the Holy Sword can shrink in size. His Duke grabs it and looks at it as Rigard asks him how dare he touch him, asking him to not lay a hand on him. His Duke mentions so this Holy Sword shows her, thinking it is as if it is alive. He also mentions that he has heard that Holy Swords can speak. She tells him yes, it seems that the voice is only audible to the owner. She tells them that it also helped her control her aura. Derek is shocked and asks her if she knew that her aura had manifested. She tells him yes, since the temple. He states that the Holy Sword gives such assistance. The Duke thanks her for telling them first. She is aware that as expected, he already knew everything. He states that as she knows, aura is a dangerous power. Once this fact is known, noble families will be even more cautious of Esther, a war hero who is a close friend of the Emperor, the deputy commander of the Royal Knights, known as a genius, and now an aura user who graduated top of the academy. Too much of anything can be harmful. She thinks that they might think it is too much trouble if it goes too big. His Duke tells her that he knows someone who manifested their aura before coming of age. She is shocked to hear that as she ponders that her father knows someone with symptoms like her whom Professor Felsen could not find. She wonders who is that person and what happened to them if they are alive. She asked him if he was close friends. He responds yes, and even if aura manifest is early, it is not a big problem. Moreover, since she is already controlling it, there is nothing to worry about. She tells her that she will be careful and she will show him that she can perfectly control both the Holy Sword and the aura. He gives her the Holy Sword back and tells her that she is the rightful owner of this Holy Sword. She questions if they all are really going to trust her. They responded there is no reason to not trust her. She is aware that even when her enrollment was cancelled, they must have had a lot of questions wondering why are they letting it go. They tell her that she can leave now as she leaves. Derek asks him that if he really intends to let this go like this. His Duke states that Adelia was born with aura. Derek is shocked. His Duke mentions that twice a year, Adelia's aura would periodically go out of control. As one knows, rampaging aura can be subdued by a stronger aura, and he would regularly suppress it. But this time the cycle was broken, and if he had not found it in time and suppressed it, it could have been dangerous. Derek questions, and how about asking that person for help and showing them Adelia's condition? His Duke disagrees, stating that person is dead. Derek becomes shocked and questions what about their Adelia and if something will happen to her too. His Duke asks him to calm down, stating that Adelia is different. The person he mentioned could not control their aura till the end. Moreover, they pushed themselves physically, which hastened their death, but Adelia's situation is different. He swore that as long as the child stayed alive, he would let her do anything she wanted, and if it does not threaten Adelia's life, he wants to just watch over her. In her room, Adelia ponders that her father lied, as having faced that from this illness herself, she understands better than anyone else if things continue like this, she will die. She is aware that her father's murmurs and glances she felt today seemed especially intense. She wonders if it was just her imagination. In her previous life, the Crown Prince had told her that he has informed his attendant so she should go and get her medicine. She questioned about it as he asked her to stop thinking that he can receive her as her shoulder and thigh are not in good condition. He told her to forget about the war and just take care of herself first. He also questioned if she planned on coming back with a broken body, stating that he wants her home. She asked him if that is something a Crown Prince should say. How can a knight protect their body in a war? He told her that even so that is the case, she still should not get hurt, and that is an order. She asked him to not be unreasonable. He stated that if she is going to fight and get hurt, then she should get hurt next to him as her guard. The maid wakes her up and tells her the carriage has arrived. She questions what carriage before the maid drags her out of the bed, stating that they do not have time for this. They make her get ready. She wonders who exactly is at this time. It is from the palace. His Highness the Crown Prince has sent a carriage for her.